y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So you're getting a twofer. We're going to break this into two videos. We'll start with kind of an overview, intro to the topic, if you will, this week. And then next week, I'll close out on what happened after. What was the aftermath of this crazy story that I'm going to tell you. So yes, I have been in the unfortunate position of needing to defend, not really defend so much as explain, a 50% decline rate. It was not a good time, friends. I did not enjoy it. Okay. So this was actually inspired my friend James Ellis, who is an employer branding superstar. I met him a couple years back at RecFest. He was actually the MC for my presentation. He shared a thought from an employer branding or EB perspective that we should not accept anything less than a 99% offer accept rate. If we are getting more than 1 in 100 offers declined, have we done a good job pitching our brand, explaining our value prop, blah, blah, blah. I won't read the whole post. I actually don't know where it is right now, but no, and he's not wrong. Like, I do think he has some really valid call outs around the importance of branding and the importance of like real authentic insights at every stage of the process, starting with the very first outreach, obviously through the interviews, offer time. But friends, people are going to people, okay? I am not going to be at 100% ever. And I will tell you, show me a recruiter who has 100% offer accept rate consistently forever and ever, amen. I'll show you a recruiter that might need a little inspection. Because here's the reality. There are recruiters out there, I know they exist because I have worked with some of them, who will just not record an offer that they think won't be accepted. Or maybe somebody verbally declined and said, oh gosh, you know what, thanks for calling me to tell me I'm inclined to offer, but I just took another job. Or I've got an offer from another company I plan to accept. So there's going to be that kind of those weird one-off situations that are going to happen. I think it is critical that we still go ahead and extend even a dummy offer, even if we're just like extend immediate decline. That's okay. Because I think it's really, really important for us to capture that decline data and the whys because it teaches us so much. So two big ideas around why this data matters and why it's okay to have some offer declines. We're going to get into this over the next couple weeks. Number one, it's really important to understand what's in our control, what's not in our control, and what are some of the drivers to people being declined. And number two, it's just honest data. And the data integrity is so important. It's so important. Like it is shady to me to not record things that are truly happening. This is why we have an ATS so that we can document all these things. Very, very important that we are honest with ourselves, with our businesses, with our managers about what's working, what's not working, and it helps inform what we can do to improve. Okay? So with that backstory, first of all, I want to say 3-4 minutes in, fully understand that this may feel weird to job seekers. You might be saying, why am I watching this? How does this help me get a job? It probably doesn't. But it might give you some insight into how a recruiter's brain works. Maybe. All right. I talked about this in a blog post that I wrote back in 2019. I will link to the post down below so you can check it out for yourself. But I wrote a post based on something that happened to me in like 2016, give or take, 2016, 2017, somewhere around there. I don't remember the exact year this happened. But yes, I did have to justify a 50% decline rate. I had to explain to a vice president why half of the offers I was making were being rejected. Not fun. So let's back up though and talk about how we got there. So in this particular case, I've been working with this business for a few months now. And I'd been trying to really solidify my partnership with the VP. I had a couple of other recruiters that were working with me on different parts of the team. And I was owning that overall leader relationship and driving the recruiting strategy for this big org. It was a very big deal. It was it wasn't a promo exactly, but it was like a bigger scope of work that, hey, Ames, we think you're ready for this. Go manage this. And I was like, whoa, it was huge, right? So I get in there and, I'm doing my thing and working with the businesses, and I'm, obviously sourcing and recruiting myself as well as the partner recruiters that I had with me. And I get called into, or invited, I should say, called into the principal's office. I get invited to the leadership meeting. And I'm like, yes, they think I'm important. They want me to come to their big kid meeting. This was a very big deal, and I was very, very excited about this, okay? Now I'm like, please don't invite me, I'm busy. But 10 years ago, I was like, oh my God, they think I'm important. All right, friends, so I go to this meeting. I've got my little, recruiting data pulled up, like number of recs we have and number of candidates in the pipeline at this moment. I was very much in the moment transactional, here's what recruiting's doing. Wrong approach. So I get into the meeting and the VP says, Amy, we asked you to come today. We want to make you a regular part of this meeting because it's really important that we stay connected on all things recruiting. Yes. And I need you to increase the number of resumes that you're submitting. I'm sorry, you need what? You need more resumes. Okay, look, say more. I'm confused. Say more. And there's 20 people around the room, all of his directs who are directors, and then the senior managers that report to those directors were all there. And so there's 20 people, and they're all looking at me, and they're all saying, yeah, we're not hiring fast enough. We need you and your team to send more resumes. We need you all to do more. You are not doing enough. They were very nice about it. No one was mad at me, which is almost worse because they were disappointed. Yell at me. I can handle that. But if you tell me you're disappointed in me, I'm going to cry. Okay. It's not gonna be good. So, they're all yeah, we're just not hiring fast enough. And this role's been open for so long and da-da-da-da-da and all these conversations. And I said, oh no. Okay. Well, tell you what, I have some in the moment data, but I don't know that that's going to be helpful. So can I go back, collect more information, and come back to the meeting next week with more data and a plan? And they said, yes, please. That would be amazing. I said, okay, wonderful. Thank you. So now I'm peeing my pants, freaking out because I've now failed this VP in my first kind of big kid strategy job and probably should just go eat worms. But I go back and I start digging into the data, and I'm looking back I'm said, well, let me look at the last 3 months. Okay. Let me get a good quarter's worth of data. Friends, here's what we got. And you can read about this in the post that I'm linking in the description there. There are some specific pass-through rates or data points that are critical to know how we are doing as far as a recruiting strategy and recruiting output, okay? So the things that I think matter the most are submittals. So how many actual vetted candidates are we putting in front of hiring managers? What we called back then tech screens. So how many of those submittals are moving to a technical conversation or a business phone screen or whatever you want to call it with a hiring team? How many of those people are getting interviews? And then how many of our interviews are actually converting to an offer? So these were the very important data points that I knew I needed to understand and have my story prepared and have a good understanding of where we were losing people. You're telling me you're not hiring enough. I got to inspect that funnel and see where in the world things are going awry. Remember, they told me you're not sending enough resumes. Oh, really? because my data says. So here's what we learned is, and I'll kind of close out with this, and then we'll go deep into the offer piece next week. Here's what we learned. I did change up the numbers a little bit, but the percentages are spot on. Okay, so if you look at the post, you'll see what I'm talking about. But essentially, our submittals increased drastically month over month. I'm going to actually tell you by how much. Okay, let me get my calculator. Okay, so from January to February, we went from 41 submittals to 58 submittals. Okay, so what is that? So is it 58 divided by, no, 41 divided by 58? This math always confuses me. Anyway, we improved it by like 30%, if I'm thinking correctly. Anyway, whatever. We increased significantly. We had another double-digit increase the next month. Okay, so we increased from January to February, double-digit increase. From February to March, double-digit increase. You're getting a lot of resumes. Okay? But not only are you getting a lot of resumes, you are actually doing a technical screen with 88% of the resumes I'm sending you. That is an indicator that me and my team know what you want. You like most of the people that we're sending you. We had a second technical screen where 62% were moving forward. That was also a fall off. We had people going, I'm not interested in a second phone interview. Are you kidding? I'm moving on with another offer. Bye. So we actually did lose people at that stage as well because they didn't want to go through an extra layer of vetting. Totally fair. Of the people who were getting that second screen and passing that second screen, of the people getting the second screen, more than half of them passed and were moving to an actual interview. Okay? So again, we're having really good, solid results. Majority of people at each stage are moving to the next stage. That's good. When we get to the interviews completed, how many of those people were inclined? How many people are getting an offer? 1 in 3. The company average was like 1 in 6. My people were prepared, okay? My people were interviewing really well. My people were getting offers. So now I have this, it was a bigger number than this, but for the purposes of this illustration, we're going to say 16. I had 16 people get offers. 8 of them told us no. So I pull all of this data, and here's what we learned. Okay, we're seeing lots of resumes. We are increasing that pipeline month over month. We know what we're looking for. We're optimizing for more activity, more people that you like. We were not seeing a drop in effectiveness there. Our ratios at every level were strong, and this was across 3 different job families. We had engineering, we had data science, and we had program management. All 3 were reporting similar numbers. My team was good. People were passing the interview process. We were killing it. The extra step, this is what we learned. The extra step with the second tech screen was creating some fatigue with our candidates. We had people that were dropping out. We also get to the closing, and that's where it went to shit. We could not close half of the candidates that we were offering. Now I know the immediate reaction here is, well, you guys made bad offers. Well, Amy's not a good closer. Well, why can't you convert people? That's a recruiter problem. Or is it? Tune in next week and we will discuss what really happened.